answer them. This is the Ask DVCC show.
Hey, this is Mark and Steve from the DVCC, and this is the Ask DVCC show. So, today we're going to answer 3 questions that have been posed to us. Actually, I nipped out of this nice green office to see some clients at DVCC Bedford and asked them, put them on the spot, and I've got those questions from 3 clients. So, underway. First question is...
I'm about to do an endurance bike ride at 50 miles. What should I be doing as a warm-up?
Well, the warm-up I don't think is the most important part, because realistically, when you're riding on a bike for 50 miles, probably the best warm-up is to just gradually increase your pace on a bike. But for 50 miles, unless you're Lance Armstrong, you're not going to be going really, really fast the whole time. So I don't think the warm-up actually is the most important part. I think it's what you do to negate the fact that you're on a bike for 50 miles. E.g., when you're sat down in a certain position, you're going to be causing essentially muscular imbalances, because I'm assuming there's a lot of training that's happened to get to being able to do 50 miles. So you're going to be sat on a bike for a long, long time in your training and then actually on the day. So that will mean that your hip flexors will potentially become shorter, the front of your legs are going to become tighter. And what you need to think about is what you're going to be doing every day probably to make sure that those things don't actually become an issue. For example, if your hip flexors become tight, then that can often cause your other side of your body, the opposite muscles, to either become weak or not to be working. So for example, your bum just won't be working the same. Essentially it's sat down and you're not really doing too much, your hip flexors become tight. So what I would do is make sure that you're implementing a flexibility routine every day to essentially negate all of the things that happen from the bike. So stretch your hip flexors, stretch your quads, stretch your pecs, because when you're sat down on the bike you'll be really protracted in your shoulders, and try and make sure that you're thinking about your posture, because you don't want the fact that you've done a bike ride to cause you issues in a few months' time because it's affected the way that your body sits. And on a side note, you also want to be, a lot of people think about nutrition-wise what they need to be eating, they think about the food they need to be eating on the morning. Actually, it's kind of the meal the night before, actually from the lunch before, that you need to be focusing on. Carb loading, a lot of people say, but it's not necessarily just carb loading, but it's effectively thinking about when you do long endurance like that, you are using the food from previous days. And often when you're doing really long endurances, you want to be thinking about little gel packs and things like that to give you that boost of energy. Cool. So next question is...
How much fish oil should I be taking?
And that was actually posed literally just earlier by Peggy. And that's why I have this fish oil here. So this is the DVCC optimized fish oil. It is pharmaceutical grade, which basically means it does not contain any heavy metals, guaranteed not to contain any heavy metals. Now, we've gone quite a few full circles. So they do say, and they have said for quite a few years, that you want to be taking a gram of omega-3 fish oil per % of body fat. Now, for most of us, that means consuming pretty much one of these every few days, because it's a tremendous amount. Imagine 1 gram is basically 1 tablet. Average person might be 30%, that would mean 30 pills. Now that's not sustainable, certainly not over the long term. So what we advise is 6 grams a day. So that just means if your pills are 1 gram, then obviously that's just 6 pills a day. Ideally you'd spread that out. Ideally it would also be with meals. Halfway through the meal, pop a couple of tablets, and then obviously that's 3 meals a day, you'll hit your 6 grams, no problem. Yeah, and I mean, if you struggle with fish oil liquid, these are tablets, but there is obviously fish oil liquid. You get a higher dosage in a smaller amount of fish oil liquid, so effectively a teaspoon is 5 grams. So you're pretty much getting your 6 grams with 1 teaspoon. But obviously fish oil tablets are far easier to take around and carry around, and also I think taste a little bit better because they don't taste of anything. So, good. Anyway, next question is, and final question.
How can I improve my golf performance in the gym?
Well, contrary to what a lot of people you'll see on YouTube videos and things, you don't really want to just be imitating a swing using equipment, so trying to, use cables and just doing a swing, because often that can change a motor pattern because it's not the same way you're going to be swinging a golf club. So what you want to think about is things that will aid in swinging of the golf club. It won't affect your technique, because you're not training technique, you're trying to train the strength qualities that you need to be a better golfer. So, for example, grip strength's been related well in golf to being able to drive distances. So, working on grip strength in the gym is easy to do. It doesn't require you to actually hold a golf club to do it. Working on your core stabilizing muscles will always help. Anti-rotation, flexion, abdominals, but also posterior chain will also aid as well. And again, obviously, when you're swinging the golf club a lot, you can end up with a lot of different imbalances because you're very dominant on one side. So it's important that you make sure that you're training both sides to keep in alignment, because over time that will end up in a worse golf swing because you'll end up with different injuries and things like that. It's a very quite simple thought if you think about what do you do a lot of. Frequently either sit at a desk or golf swings, you use the same muscles repeatedly, and that means that other muscles aren't necessarily working and you will cause imbalances. So as it is sitting at a desk all day, you're going to perform imbalances. The same goes for golf swinging, rugby swinging of the foot if you're kicking a kicker, or tennis with the shoulders. So you need to do work to negate the issues that can be caused by just using the same muscles over and over again. And also with golf, it's very important that, like Stephen says, you aren't just... It's a very simple thought process to think, right, I'm going to pick up a dumbbell, I'm going to swing the dumbbell like I swing a golf club. That is a layman's or a lazy way of doing things, because, like Stephen says, your motor patterns, you're used to swinging the club in a certain way, in a certain arc, and a club is very different to a dumbbell, but you will alter your swing naturally if you're using a dumbbell, because it's different leverage, different weight. It's completely different to swinging a golf club. So you don't want to just go straight into mimicking, like Steve says, the golf swing with a dumbbell. Basically, don't use the gym to try and imitate the sport with the equipment. That's not the idea, and that's not how you get better using the gym for sport. It's training the right strength or endurance qualities of the muscle, not necessarily just trying to imitate the swing or the kick of a rugby ball and things like that. So this is Mark and Steve Gray. If you have any comments, please leave them in the box below. You will start seeing some information about our 6-week program, which will be launching in January. We launch it basically once a year, so we might well have an opportunity for you to get onto the pre-registration list. We might not, we're undecided whether we're going to do that. Limit it to 30 clients per gym. There's obviously 5 gyms. So if you see it, I would get onto it pretty quickly. Otherwise, look out for that coming in the first couple of weeks of January. But if you want to start now and before the January rush, do click on any of the links and you'll be able to download any of our guides and then see if the DVCC is going to be right for you. So, thanks and goodbye.